All right, and we're live. Yay!
Yeah, very good.
Great. Hello and welcome everyone to the MetaMask Snaps community call for May, where we host a bunch of amazing teams from all over the world who are winners from ETHDenver as well as ETHSamba and showcase their projects that were the winning projects at the hackathon. With me, I have Francesco and some people from those winning teams. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide, Francesco. Cool. So just little housekeeping. So here's the agenda. We'll be moving forward with intros and a warm welcome with the team, and then followed by MetaMask developer ecosystem. So Francesco will be doing a session on that, followed by MetaMask Snaps introduction, followed by the demos from Snaps Hackathon winners. We have Team Composooor, Team SmartTrans, and Team CrossFuel. And after that, I'll be announcing the grants DAO for Snaps and followed by a recap. So just to get started, I am Manbir and I am working as a community manager at Consensus. If this is not your first community call, you must have seen me as well as Francesco, but Francesco is the real OG here. I don't know, maybe Francesco,
No,
would you like to
you're.
go ahead and go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey everybody. Yeah, Francesco here, and I'm also part of like the developer experience team, and super excited to join Mambir in this Snaps Hackathon winner community call.
Awesome, great. So we have two teams for now. We have team Composer and team SmartTrans, and we can go ahead with introductions. I think we have Nicholas from team Composer. So Nicholas, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here. So yeah, my name is Nicholas. I go online as Tobou, Tobou. You will find me on Twitter at that name. And I've been developing smart contracts since 2018. And right now, my main activity is that I'm the CTO of Kairos Loan, an NFT lending protocol that is going live hopefully this week.
Awesome, great.
Welcome.
So, and yeah, do you mind sharing which hackathon were you a part of? Were you there at ETH Denver or were you there at ETH Samba?
Yes, of course. So with our company, we were a four-person team at East Denver, and we won the first place of MetaMask. So thank you again for that.
Awesome, congratulations. That's exciting.
Congrats.
Great. So we also have Team SmartTrans with us. So Henrik and Leori, if you could just go ahead and introduce yourself. Maybe if you'd like to, you can also show up and say hi on camera if you'd like to. No, not super necessary, but in case you're able to.
Hello guys, I'm Yohei. I'm a university student here at Intel. I'm doing computer engineering, and we created the SmartTrans project in the reenabling hackathon, and we won the MetaMask Snaps category.
Congrats.
Awesome. And Henrik, would you also like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Henrique. I'm a student from Italy too, and we win the ETHSamba hackathon with project to MetaMask Snaps.
Awesome, awesome. Great to have you all with us. And with that out of the window, I think Francesco, can you go ahead and introduce us
Of
with
course.
MetaMask Snaps?
Of course. So we just give some context on the ecosystem at what snaps are about, and why we actually care about this permissionless innovation. But so to everybody that is listening, I see we're around like 400 people. This is super exciting in any time zone that you are in. And yeah, so I hope you had a great weekend and a great Monday if you are on holiday. And yeah, let's kickstart. So MetaMask developer ecosystem. Just to give a quick overview, right? Like, Consensus is the parent company. There are different products. MetaMask Snaps is one specific developer tooling under the MetaMask umbrella. And we will touch a little bit later with Mambir on the MetaMask Grants DAO. But this is definitely something that we are super exciting because it's providing also additional capital and grants for hackathon winners and projects that want to build further their Snap or anything Web3 related. You just need to submit a proposal. In terms of like developer ecosystem, just to give you an idea, last year we were quite active in the Web3 hackathon and some Web2 hackathon too. We provide a bunch of bounties, and we also organize a lot of like those very technical events that were actually during those hackathon. And yeah, I think like we run quite a few of those where we actually hosted different like technical panels and also workshops, and that's super exciting because we're just continuing doing that, and the community is extremely strong, especially in this we are always mentioning that we are in this bull market of developers, and it's definitely exciting to see how those hackathon like where and they will be. Cool. Let's just start to give like a quickly context or like an overview of what snaps are, and why we're actually like caring. So if you guys didn't heard about snaps, in a nutshell, snaps are, think about like our extension on top of your MetaMask. So you are basically extending the functionality of what MetaMask does today, right? In a fully secure, decentralized, and most important, like they have zero permission on default, meaning the users is also in full control on whatever the snaps is speaking or is transacting with the extension. To give a little bit like a step up, like so in MetaMask, we're considering these three pillars on the developer tooling side. You have all the dApp API, you have the MetaMask SDK. So if you're a game developer or you want to integrate natively MetaMask in your dApp, feel free to like check out what those SDK are. And then the third pillar is obviously snaps. And think about that also, like snaps are part of this ecosystem, and everybody in the community can extend the functionality of what MetaMask is today. And we go through like some examples, especially in categories. But I think that's something similar. Think about how also like non-EVM extensions or like notification snaps. So literally new functionality that you think MetaMask should have, and that's why we give this backbone infrastructure for the community to build on top of this. So as I mentioned before, trustless execution environment, there is zero permission by default. So this is actually quite interesting because the snap by default has zero permission, and every time it is transacting with the extension is even asking you like network access, disk access, even like the Wi-Fi setup. And I think it's actually quite powerful, the fact that actually the end users will be really in control of what the snaps is doing. Also, third point is everything that you build on a snap and the snap in practice, like you have also access to different like external APIs, so you can actually interact with his own API, and means also something quite powerful. This is how it looks like when you get actually notifying you install a snap. All this kind of transition, and we mentioned before, like they are displayed directly there. So even to accessing the internet, you need to basically like approve, being the approval on that side. So on practically how this is work, so a snap is nothing else as an npm package. We have a source code, a manifest, and a JSON package.json. All these three files are bundled on a JavaScript file, and they're all published on npm. I can give you a little bit like the flow, how will look like in terms of like distributions to end users. But basically, you as a developer, you publish your snap in npm.js.io. When you deploy your dApp, you can invite new user to install your snap, and then basically when the dApp that you're referred to, it will invoke this snap. That means also like all other users has access to your same snap directly on their extension. This screenshot on the left that you see here is basically what Flask setting displays. And today, snaps are available on Flask. Is the canary version of MetaMask. So it's not a fake MetaMask. It's just the developer version, and you see that with a different colors. And it's also available on your extension or Chrome extension. Make sure when you are actually install it, you don't have both MetaMask production and Flask in the same Windows, but use another profile or another browser. That is actually quite helpful. So as a first step, when you install it, you see all the snaps in your Flask setting. And what you see here is basically when my file snaps is activated or not activated, you see that it's been stopped, and you also see quite cool details on the background. And then as the last part, you see the dApps can be used your snaps too, right? So it's quite interesting because every person can install your snap and be deployed in their MetaMask production. Cool. So in terms of use cases, we will see really two really good like snaps use case today, but I think there are a lot, right? And when we're speaking about like use case of snaps, you can think about like EVM extension. So everything that is non-EVM compatible. Think about a Cosmos snap, a BTC snap, and then you have also a lot of like specific API or privacy snap. I'm a big fan of the communication snap, where basically you can build notify snap. You can also do some account abstraction use case like revoking MPC snap, account recovery. There are actually a bunch of like account abstraction use case on that side that are quite interesting, and literally like we are limitless here on that side. Because think about really extending those functionality and probably like every use case that you think about are achievable directly through Snap. Cool. An ever-growing API. So basically, this is when we started like building new features, and there are actually quite interesting parts like display a costume confirmation screen. Notify users is super interesting because you're getting directly notification on your machine. Store and manage data. There is a file snap. It is quite cool that you can actually like directly store data on your extension. Control non-EVM accounts and assets. I think this is basically falling in the category on non-EVM compatible like snaps. And then populate pre-transaction windows with custom transaction insights. So transaction insight is also one big part also on the snap side. Coming soon, cron jobs and custom interactive UI. This is also a big part. It's also quite requested, and we really hope in a future we can actually like customize directly our extension. And there are much more things happening. Cool. I guess like we did our like 10-15 minutes context, but let's actually like start and giving like to the audience here, like what does it mean really winning an hackathon, and showcase is this hackathon? Because the entire goal of us like providing those snaps bounty is not just winning the bounty, but it's also like getting everybody in this post hackathon activation. Like everybody will write, for example, a technical blog post on their snap and being published in our blog. As you can see here today, we are in a developer community call where we showcase different hackathon winners, and then we have also like a bunch of Twitter space coming along the line where we're hosting directly with our handle. So it's around like an ecosystem post hackathon activation that we think is really important also like to do post hackathon, and that's all what Web3 is about. Cool. I think we can get it started. I think our first team will be. You remember, Mabir? I think we said. We said again.
Yeah, so that's going to be Composooor team.
Yes. Okay, Joseph.
We have Nicholas from
Yes.
Composooor.
Just quick housekeeping also for everybody. Like, feel free to also to ask question directly in the ask a question part in Crowdcast here in the bottom right. And it's great to see like more people joining in the chat, and also like make sure you are responding to the polls also on the bottom right. And so each team will have 8 minutes. So we can ask questions during the waves, but I think like you guys can showcase what you build, what were the challenges, how you find snaps in terms of like onboarding, and most important, what are the next steps, what you guys want to build next. And yeah, I will say Composooor, Joseph, take it away. Can you hear me?
Francesco, if you stop sharing your screen, I think Nicholas will be able to. So we have Nicholas from Team Composooor.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I start to share my screen right now.
Sounds good.
Here we go. So thank you again for having me. Let me present Composooor. So So once again, we won at ETHDenver with this snap, which is a very much developer-focused snap. So the problem we are trying to solve is a composability one. As a smart contract developer, I noticed that I'm using a lot of times a lot of patterns that are making use of off-chain resources. So let me be a little bit clear. The blockchain, like Ethereum, for example, is very limited to what you can do in terms of computation and data storage. So a lot of time you have inside your smart contract to make use of some pattern. The best example is, for example, if you want to do a massive airdrop, you have to use a Merkle tree, like Uniswap did. If you want to have a massive lending or exchange market like Blur, you have to use an off-chain order book. And by definition, these patterns are using some off-chain resources, and which are so everything is not in the smart contract, and because of this, the smart contract becomes non-composable by other smart contracts. Like for example, you can't easily build a yearn strategy that is making use of deals made on Blur. As a smart contract developer, this is not easily feasible. Right now, it necessitates a lot of help from front-end developers or even APIs. And and we see this as a problem because we think Snap can be a part of the solution. And the way we make this work is basically by presenting like a new standard, which starts on the contract side. So the smart contract will have a specific way of making, of manifesting that it needs some off-chain data. Like so it can be some off-chain data or off-chain computation if you want to make your app composable. And so I'm really talking to developers here, but it will be like a specific revert message, a standardized one that can be then picked up by the Composooor snap, which knows that whenever a smart contract is reverting with this specific standardized error, it doesn't mean that the operation that the user is trying to make is impossible. It just means that this operation first needs some information that must come from off-chain resources. And so the Composooor snap, leveraging also some account abstraction logic, so this is why it's so powerful, can fetch the data or compute it, sometimes using third-party services, centralized or decentralized, it depends. We really made the snap in a very open way. So it will, for example, go fetch it on the Blur API or on some off-chain but decentralized computation engine, and it will make use of this information inside at the transaction preparation step. And so all of our code is fully open source and usable. It's available on the Kairos/Composooor with 3.0 GitHub that you can check out, and we are very open to questions, and if someone wants to use this snap, we can help. So the exact way, I'm not going to go into too much details, but we are leveraging account abstraction and the MetaMask snap. So the snap is making multiple simulations of a transaction which is being prepared, and using off-chain resources. And whenever one of those simulations is showing that the transaction is ready, that it's working, only then it will prompt the user for confirmation and send the transaction to a smart contract. Once again, the real use case of this is to build some apps that were not possible before, like for example, yearn using Blur, and we have an example here, which is a buy now pay later simple app, which is using OpenSea and a lending protocol, which has an off-chain order book at the same time. And we can see here on our little demo that the smart contract was first reverting, but the Snap knew it was an off-chain data error. It used the off-chain API to prepare its transaction, and then it simulated the transaction again using the new data. And by calling some specific standardized methods on the target smart contract, it was able to prepare a transaction which is more rich than what's available today to developers. And now I can just very simply send my transaction. And I mean, this little demo doesn't show much, but behind the scenes, I now have buyed this NFT at a leverage state using a Snap. And so yeah, for smart contract developers, doing something like that with MetaMask Snap and with this standard, it's like cutting your work in half 5 times, and it's the same for the front end or back end developer. And yeah, so the future of an app like that, for it to work, we would need some adoption. So to make it work, first we would, if people are interested, it's enabling new use cases, making really every services that are using blockchain really composable between them, which was not the case. Once again, Blur, Uniswap. When I say Uniswap, I'm talking about the airdrops, composable one with another, and to make it a standard, we would, for example, make new use cases, new apps, like for example this little buy now pay later app, and then try to make an EIP, like for example, that would be cool if a lot of people find this use case interesting. And yeah, that's it for me.
Sounds good. So run us through like how you build the snaps. Do you use this monorepo? How was the onboarding?
So yeah, of course, we made a great use of the templates which was provided. This really made us go faster into development.
Nice. Did you were able? I mean, there were some challenges during like the night or during the hackathon in general that you got to debug?
Yes, we had to understand the authorization system of the Snap, which is very well made because it makes the user very safe. But it was a bit challenging to understand at first, but then we had to know which authorization we have to have in the first place, so this app would work. And yeah, eventually we got it.
Sounds good.
Great. So if anyone is getting started with building on MetaMask Snaps, for example, what would you recommend to them? Do you suggest going to the documentation, or do you suggest searching through maybe the existing Snaps examples that are there? What would you recommend?
Oh yeah, both. It depends on your style. I'm definitely someone who reads the documentation first. I think it's pretty good, and reads the example as well. So the monorepo is a good example, and the existing Snap, I would look at it, like try to look at something quite similar to what you are doing, and then what really make it click. We were at a hackathon, but we were really helped directly by the MetaMask Snap team, actually, which was a great help. And I think they are available on Discord. So whenever I'm stuck, I would ask a question.
Great. And if you, say, for example, didn't choose this idea, if you wanted to work on some other project, building on Snaps itself, but some other solution maybe, what else would you build on within a hackathon, say within a stipulated time? And I'm asking this just to give probably an idea to people who are just getting started, to have something in mind. So yeah.
Good question. I haven't too much thought about it, but I really look into account abstraction, I think, because account abstraction is enabling a lot of things that we can't imagine now. So I think I would try to do something along those lines. Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nikolai. Cool. I think we can. So let's move to the SmartTrans. I think Enrique and Leora, you guys are here. Let's invite them on stage.
Let's go.
How was your experience in ETHSamba? I heard it was a really cool hackathon full of developer energy.
Let me share my screen just a second.
Sounds good. Yes.
You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Starting with the problem, so we don't prepare the slides for this presentation. It's this our slide. So starting with the problem, it is known that public transportation in large cities has a problem such as inefficiency of the payment methods. In order to solve this problem, we created SmartTrans, a solution based on blockchain technology that use smart contracts to generate tokens to be used as transportation tickets on public transport. Users send money to smart contract, and in return receive these tokens, digital tickets. The idea is to improve the quality of life for citizens and help increase productivity by attracting investments and economic development. The system development by SmartTrans is capable of reading the information from an NFC card, which contains the user mnemonic phrase, using RFID reader. In this information is captured and perform the transactions. The reader is connected to the Raspberry Pi Pico W microcontroller, which uses the MQTT protocol to send data to a server, which in return communicates with the smart contracts published on the cello.
So we mixed blockchain with IoT. We have a microcontroller that can read, has a reader that can read a card's mnemonic phrase. So users gets the card near the microcontroller. The microcontroller sends this information to a server, and the server uses ethers to burn a token in the smart contract.
Yes. So in addition, we also use MetaMask Snaps, and which allows for a better visualization of the information reading the conversation of real currency to Ether. As well as providing valid insights to transactions made. So let's go to the demo.
Yeah, just one thing. We have a front end built in React, and the user signs up, and he creates his account. He goes there, he wants to buy 4 tickets, for example, 4 tokens. So here in Brazil, we are in Brazil, and the public transportation tickets have a fixed price. So we convert the ethers to BRL, that is the Brazil coin. He's going to show you now.
When clicking to buy, a MetaMask pop-up appears to confirm the transaction, but here does not appear. As you can see the MetaMask handle notification start, but not appears here. So unfortunately, the MetaMask pop-up does not appear on the record screen. But upon confirming the transaction, the user see the real-time conversation, which was only made possible with MetaMask Snaps.
Yeah, inside the MetaMask Snaps, we made a call to external API that has a conversion rate from real, that is our coin, to ethers in real time.
Yes, this loading, you can see, this loading time is relative to transaction block time. So now let's show the integration of the blockchain front end, back end, and hardware parts of the project. As we can see, the user current has 4 tokens. However, when FC card passed through the RFID reader, the transaction is signed and the 1 token is spent. And as if the user were using a ticket, upon refreshing the page, the transaction has already been completed, and it can be seen the numbers of available tokens is now 3. Furthermore, it is an important note that was a proof of concept application, and as it functions as blockchain debit. So advertising. Um, where users spend proof of concept application. It was functions as blockchain debit card, where the user can spend 1 of their tokens physically. Finally, for the next steps, we plan to use account abstraction to project to register to protect the registered mnemonic phrase, implemented a version of the application that allows for reading through the NFC on mobile phones, and considering the proof of concept, expand the solution to become a true general purpose debit card for transportation. You can see here the implementation of the hardware system. Here we have the NFC. Here we have NFC reader. Here we have a microcontroller Raspberry Pi Pico W, and this communicates with the backend with MQTT. So with this, it's our project. We bring the MetaMask Snaps technology and blockchain to the real world through the hardware system to transport to public transport. Any questions?
Awesome. So yeah, Leori, could you just walk us through how you build the project? Did you get started with the mono repo? Did you get started with the documentation?
Okay. Here
Yeah.
we have a. Okay, let's go. Hey.
You can speak.
Yes. Here we have all the parts of the project: IoT part, backend part, front end, and the integration with the blockchain with Truffle. I'm sorry, our documentation is here in Portuguese, but you can translate this with the Google Translate extension. But if we go to the
Front end
here,
you can go to packages. We used the template that is in the MetaMask Snaps website. Here we created the snaps that is connected to a front end built in React. The MetaMask Snaps is running in the port 8080, the PC port 8080, and the front end can connect this way.
Sounds
Here you
good.
can see that, go lower, Marlon. Yeah, lower. Here you can see that the user, when he clicks the button, this code is executed. And inside the MetaMask, we make an API request to a website that converts the Brazilian real to the ethers. And he multiplies that with the amount of tokens that the user wants. And he returns inside the MetaMask Snaps a communication showing the conversion rate in real time.
Yes.
Sounds good. Sounds good. How was the most important question is, did you guys get some sleep during the hackathon?
uh, we don't sleep in this hackathon.
It's
Very
pretty
good, very
much
good.
it. It's really hard.
That's cool.
We have a really low time to develop the solution. And when I started the hackathon, I didn't know MetaMask Snaps. No one in the team and knew a little bit about MetaMask Snaps. We learned it in the hackathon, searching for the
Nice.
documentation, searching for YouTube videos that
Yes,
showcasing
yes,
different solutions. So it
yes.
is possible to learn MetaMask Snaps. It's not simple, but it is possible to learn in such
Yeah, well
a
done.
short period of time.
All
Well done.
part of this project was made it in 24 hours on this hackathon. So it's much hard to build this.
Nice.
Awesome. And
So do you plan?
yeah, go ahead, Francesco.
No, my question is like quite simple. Like you plan also like to extend the snap, like any step that you want to take further.
Leo?
Yeah, I personally want to implement the MetaMask Snaps notification in our app.
Yeah.
So when there is a transaction happening inside the blockchain, it automatically refresh the quantity of user tokens there. But we can implement much more features using this technology. Really great for you to develop this for us.
Sounds good. Mabir, you had a question.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask what challenges you ran into, and then that you think the beginners might also run into. So, what would you suggest them, like how to like skip the challenges that you run into, or the issues that you run into?
That's a difficult question.
Yes.
Yeah, one thing that happened in the project was a lot of times when we were using the MetaMask Snaps, it was not working at all. And I searched for YouTube videos and like documentation of different projects and the documentation of the official website, and this helped very much. So this is my personal suggestion.
So, you would suggest them to go to the documentation and get started from there.
Yes, yes.
Cool, great. And any other idea, Snaps idea that you would like to work on? If you didn't work on this idea, is there something else that you would have worked on?
One thing that we can implement in the future is allowing the user to pay with their native coin. Like here in Brazil, we pay real instead of paying like with ethers, and we make a swap. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
So it's
CBDC.
more easier for people to
CBDC.
use the
Yeah,
project.
CBDC is so advanced here in Brazil and implement the swap with CBDC with and that token representing the pass for public transport is one of their implementation future implementations.
Great, sounds good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well done. And I really hope you guys develop this snap further. Maybe also like send some proposals for on MetaMask Grants DAO. I'm definitely like looking forward now for the quick slides on Mambir, just to give like a context of what MetaMask Grants DAO is.
Great, sounds good. Do you
Thank you
mind
so
sharing your
much.
screen, Francesco? Oh,
Yes.
did you say something, Layuri?
No,
No,
thank you so much. Just
thank you.
Yeah, it was great having you here
Yes.
with us.
See ya. I can.
There you are.
Cool.
Cool.
So could you just go to the MetaMask Grants DAO slide?
Of course. Here. Are.
Great. So just to give you a quick introduction to MetaMask Grants DAO. So making MetaMask the most extensible wallet in the world requires decentralizing efforts to build it out. And not only will it accelerate growth for crypto comfortable users, but this will also boost adoption for crypto curious individuals that will have more paths to explore. And we believe that the next step in the process is the MetaMask Grants DAO. So, what exactly is MetaMask Grants DAO? It's basically an employee-driven, consensus-funded DAO that issues grants to developers building impactful experiences within the MetaMask ecosystem. And we seek to support developers across the community to be able to nimbly build on top of the MetaMask ecosystem while empowering employees embrace to embrace mechanisms to basically build new solutions on top of MetaMask. And talking about the foundational pieces of the MetaMask Grants DAO, so we have the employee-led DAO, the leadership committee, and secure multisig. Employee-led DAO is simply the heart of the DAO, made up of full-time consensus employees, but we're looking to decentralize over time and add external contributors as well. Then we have the leadership committee, which is the head of the DAO, made up of seven individuals responsible for finding high potential projects, creating governance proposals, updating external content, gathering feedback on the DAO, and queuing multi-sig transactions. In the event a member of the committee leaves consensus, the remaining members of the committee may fill that seat by majority vote of remaining members on how a new member could fill in. And we are exploring opportunities for the full DAO to have more input on who sits on the committee in the future. And the third part of it is secure multisig, which is simply a multisig controlled by consensus that will manage the token contract and treasury. If you could go to the next slide. Cool. Talking about grants now. So we have two type of grants: the leadership committee grants, which is basically the grants that are allocated exclusively to the leadership committee to vote on, and any leadership committee member can make a proposal, and proposals with at least 5 yes votes at close will pass. And leadership committee grants are intended to provide a quick and easy mechanism for those most closely tied to the grants operations to ensure that high quality projects that may be overlooked by the full DAO can be funded. Then we have the full DAO grants, and these grants are allocated for the full DAO to vote on. Any leadership committee member can make a proposal to the full DAO, and proposals with more yes than no votes will pass. And votes will be open for 10 days, and the individuals proposing the vote will be responsible for making the case and otherwise taking any action that they need in order to win the votes approval. Can we go to the next slide? Cool. So talking more about the DAO's objectives. So just to understand how to operate a token and DAO as a company, we aim to begin the process of progressive decentralization of the MetaMask Grants DAO by exploring a token-based governance model that allows full DAO members that are consensus employees to vote on. And more than 50% of the DAO's initial budget is allocated through tokenized proposal voting within the first 3 months of operation. And fund operation, basically to fund meaningful projects that provide value to the MetaMask ecosystem. Each grant can be broken into multiple disbursements with specific milestones depending on the size of the grant. And the third aspect of it is to engage the DAO members, to aim to have 15% of DAO members participate in at least one governance proposal within the first 3 months of operation. Can we go to the next slide? Cool. So, what's the grants reward criteria? If you have participated in one of our hackathons or workshops in the past and are interested to work with us again through our grants program, please reconnect with the team and get in touch with us. If you have a Snaps idea, we are open with our wish list, and some of our immediate areas of focus are to enable a multi-chain MetaMask future by adding support for strategic L1 and L2 networks, by enabling Ethereum features that will benefit our Ethereum developer community, such as smart contract accounts, MPC, delegatable authorization, SIWEs, custom gas fee enhancements, etc., to enhance user privacy and security using ZK proving, DIDs, transaction insights, phishing prevention, and so on. And these are just some of the examples. The list could go on and on. And if you want to bring your features and APIs to the wallet, let us know. Email us at metamaskgrants@consensus.net, or drop us an application, or simply visit metamaskgrants.org to learn more.
Sounds good. This is definitely exciting. Also for the people that were speaking on account abstraction use case, really like, and if you think like Snaps could be really well combined, that's definitely a good opportunity to send a proposal on that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, Mambir. And yeah, I think like we are really good on time. We have another 10 minutes. And yeah, like I think at this point, like let's just quickly recap in terms of what we speak today. So we gave an overview of what snaps are, available directly on Flask. You have a link there. You have a bunch of more information on snaps. And we also like presented 2 great team hackathon winners, where we see also like a great fit for people building and continuing is building their snap through this Web3 ecosystem. And then we also like overview what the grants DAO is, and everybody, not just Snaps developer, can send a proposal on the DAO. Cool. I think like in terms of resources, feel free to scan this QR code, but here is sending you directly in the getting started guide from our colleague Christian. You have a bunch of like resources, probably the monorepo on the template snap is something that you want to check out. And also like there are some example snaps like the Starknet, the transaction insight snap that are actually quite cool to showcase and see. So when you're like onboarding in an hackathon, like our recommendation really like you can start with your documentation, but there are also like these 5 or 10 minutes tutorial. You can go through some snaps that are already being built, and you can start from the template snap or the monorepo to get started with. Cool. I think like in terms of like next ecosystem events, we would like also to host a couple of more Twitter spaces with those hackathon winners that you heard today. So that is also like more an open conversation for everybody to chime in and ask questions. Then we also like plan our next like developer community calls with other like hackathon winners, especially from ETH Tokyo. And yeah, and also like we're very excited, like we're pushing like a new ambassador program pre Paris, and we also like trying to start getting some interest. So if everybody is interested and is already kind of building or build snaps and is already like a Web3 dev that showcase, presented at meetups, write bunch of technical content, then you are a perfect candidate to apply for this ambassador program. Next events, we will be in Lisbon and Paris, and we're planning a bunch of other initiatives. So feel free to reach out. But most important, for anything Snaps related, we have this consensus Discord with the Snaps dev channel. So in any hackathon, we're trying to be active there, but also like in the same time, even if it's not an hackathon, you need some like Snaps debugging. We are happy to support you there. And yeah, I think we are on time. And yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody that showed up. I think like there are also like bunch of questions that we are responding. Big shout out to the support team. I see Kristen that she's posting a bunch of useful links. And I don't know if we have time.
from our team.
Yeah,
Eric is
sure.
there. Then thanks to the entire CS team at Consensus for supporting the chat. Then thanks to Alex as well, our Snaps PMM for the constant support. And I see a bunch of people saying that they loved the call in the chat.
Yeah. And it's great to see that since we started those developer community calls on hackathon winners, like the polls are always like more and more like people know what MetaMask snaps are. So they're more also tuned to be like Web3 developers. I think that's great. That's great to see also these feedbacks. And yeah, I think we're on time. And thanks, Bambir, also for running this call. And I hope to see you in the next one. Everybody here shows up for the Twitter space that we're doing in the next days, and check out like the notification for a bunch of like cool new ecosystem events.
Well, awesome. Thanks a lot, Francesco, for hosting this call with me. And it was great having some amazing hackathon bounty winners with us, presenting their snaps with us. And guys, be sure to join us on Twitter Spaces as well as the events that we plan to be at. But until then, it was great hosting you all. See you all.
Thanks you everybody. See you next time.